morning, good afternoon, and good evening, people. Whoa, come on in. Where the table is spread. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Hello, family. How are we? Come on in. I've been waiting for you. Some of y'all got away on last night and tonight and Friday night not coming in. Yes, yes, and yes. Manuel Davis is starting the night out right. Come on with your $4.99 super sticker. And thank you, Dolores Davis, coming in as well with her $4.99 super sticker. Couldn't read what she said. Tasha Ross, thank you for your $4.99 super sticker. Greetings. Come on in, family. We've got work to do. Good evening. I think that was Ashley Otero I saw flash across the screen. Renee Holly, thank you for your super sticker. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Thank you all for starting out the night right. Isn't it worth it? It's worth it. We shouldn't have to beg and hem and haul and promise miracles and prophecy. We're being healed. We should feel the freedom to give on and off the lives. Absolutely. We're putting our money where our mouth is. We're putting our money where our muscle is. We're doing the work. We're paying the cost to be the boss. Come on, people of God. Welcome. Come on. We've got what? We got night 11 rolling here. My God. My. Night 11. How did we get here? Through a whole lot of work. That's how we got here. I'm glad to see you on tonight. Welcome. Do you have your book? Get your book out. Get your book out. Now, I think the book even looks kind of pinky burgundy, right? But the book is, as well as the t-shirt, is actually red. But I'm sure if you want it in pink, I'm pretty sure Derek will make it in pink for you as well. But tonight is important because tonight you might be able to see it. I don't know why you can see my t-shirt tonight, but protect the peace. Protect your peace. Protect your peace is what's happening on tonight. This is what we're doing on tonight. Protect your peace. We're going to be jumping in just a couple seconds. We're going to be jumping into chapter 6, and we're going to be addressing memory. Memory. How many of you believe that you have memory problems and you have never associated it with anything to do with stress or a traumatic event? Or maybe you have thought, well, this when I'm under stress that I feel this shortness in my memory and I don't remember all things, and that could be the case, but also it could be even deeper, going back to your traumatic experience. Thank you, John Booker, $4.99 superstar this evening. Come on, guys, we got work to do. I appreciate you. From here, still looks like we're only in the 70s. I'd like to get it up a little bit more, but we're going to get started anyway. Let me see if I have any testimonies or anything I want to read. I know some private ones came through. And how we doing on this Sunday? Did everyone go to church today? Did everyone go to church today? Is anyone planning on going to church anytime soon? If you haven't been in a while, or it's just not your thing? Where are you at with this? Okay. Okay. All right. I think we're pretty good. I don't think Ebony had sent me any information yet. If she sends it over on any stars that came in that I missed from the night before from some of our other social media platforms, I can read those out later just to show you my appreciation and that in all of this work that we are doing, it is still important to remember the ones who make it happen. I am not one of those people who ignore the ones that make it happen. You know, they won't say hi to you. They won't even have staff respond to your messages. Like, how hard is that? You're so famous and so popular online. You don't have a staff that could just respond to your followers' messages. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate y'all. Well, welcome. Welcome. It's like we're family now. We've spent so much time together in my office, and it's like we are family. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to night 11 of our Understanding and Healing from Trauma series. I'm so grateful you're here tonight as we begin chapter 6, exploring a deeply fascinating and often misunderstood aspect of trauma. How trauma affects memory and thoughts. Does trauma affect memory and thoughts? Trauma doesn't just impact our emotions or behaviors, it also profoundly shapes the way we remember, process, and think about our experiences. Trauma also shapes the way we remember, process, and think about our experiences. Tonight, we're going to dive into the different ways trauma impacts memory, including fragmented and repressed memories, hyper vivid recollections, and intrusive thoughts. By understanding these effects, we can begin to take back control of our minds and reframe our relationship with the past. On last night, we focused on processing trauma, where we explored the emotions of guilt and shame and learned practical steps to begin working through them. And here's a quick recap of that. We confronted guilt and shame. And I had noticed on social media, people had posted that this was the night for me. Like they really needed to understand the difference between guilt and shame, that they both were emotions, but how do I process these feelings that I have? And how do I make sure that when I've done something maybe wrong, something that deserves some accountability, how do I make sure that I stay in the guilty mindset and not the mindset of shame? When you make a mistake, there's no need to be shameful of it. It shouldn't affect your identity. Make sure you stay in the lane or in the mindset of guilt. The purpose of guilt, remember from last night, is to what? Make us accountable. Thank you, Nay Wilson. Oh my God, I think she just sent a 1999 super sticker. Woo, that deserves a dance. I want to 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 dance. Thank you, Nay. Appreciate you, young people. Reframing trauma. We worked on shifting our narratives, focus on empowerment and self compassion, and we worked on letting go. Journaling, affirmations, and self forgiveness were used to begin releasing emotional weight. Tonight, we'll take a step further, looking at the mental and cognitive effects of trauma. So, how exactly does trauma affect memory? Trauma disrupts the brain's normal processes. It's the first thing you should be able to write down. Trauma disrupts the brain's normal processes for storing and retrieving memories. Would it be possible? Could you possibly have not remembered the event correctly? Is it possible that over time, some of the memories that you had of the events or event have actually started to change to more so what you believe it is than the truth? Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but some of the memories change over time. That's usually why, if your case goes legal, people and investigators and such usually want to get the story as soon as possible, because over time, yes, Pastor Kareem, trauma will disrupt the brain and it will interrupt its normal processes for storing and retrieving information. This is why getting information within those first 24 hours or so is very, very important. It's the way our brain works. If you experienced secondhand trauma, if you witnessed someone else's traumatic experience, your brain slowly is going to change the story, because it's going to change it to a story that prevents you from cracking, prevents you from losing it, prevents you from being in fear. Remember, your mind's job is to survive. It's not even there to be honest with you. This is why facts change, not in that moment, but as time goes on, you'll see that the facts from the original story, it changed. And it's very important to understand and give yourself that grace and just say, I'm just really don't remember. You know how many people I've seen I like watching these detective shows and court shows and investigative shows. Do you know how many people have been on witness stand and had given witness to something that they noticed, something that they saw, and they got on the witness stand and somebody was convicted over their testimony, and to find out that something with their testimony wasn't correct? Because the mind begins to change the story. Thank you, Alexis. Thank you for $4.99 super sticker. God bless you. And that's why it's important to journal. It's important to journal, because not only can you forget or change the story, sometimes memories start coming through a lot clearer. And when they start coming through a lot clearer, then you begin to question yourself. How much of this do I really remember correctly? Because trauma disrupts the brain's normal processes for storing and retrieving memories. And this can lead to various changes in how memories are experienced and processed. We're going to go to the book, but let me just give you a little summary. Fragmented memories, and this is what happens, how we end up with fragmented memories. Trauma can cause memories to feel disjointed, with some parts vividly remembered and others completely blank. And this happens because the hippocampus, what is the name that we've given the hippocampus? Does anybody remember? Is the hippocampus the alarm system or the message center? Let me see what y'all put up there. What do we have? Is it the alarm system or is it the message center? What part does the hippocampus play? Does anyone have an answer, Eb? So put it on the screen so I can see it. Message center. Come on. There's our scientist, Angela. That's correct. Absolutely. This happens because the hippocampus, responsible for organizing memories, is impaired during traumatic events. So the hippocampus kind of takes a back seat because the amygdala is in high alert to save you. It's in survival mode. Repressed memories, some memories may be completely blocked out as a way to protect the mind from overwhelming pain. And we said this on last night, and I think the night before. While this can provide temporary relief, and you need temporary relief in that moment, repressed memories often resurface later in life, sometimes triggered by smell, sound, or a similar perceived event. And then we have hyper vivid memories. Some traumatic memories may feel so vivid that they seem like they're happening in the present moment. And this occurs when the amygdala, the brain's fear center, the alarm center, overactivates during trauma, making the memory feel alive. Let me give you a reflective question, and then we're going to open our books. Your reflection question is: do I experience trauma memories as fragmented, repressed, or hyper vivid? Just think of a memory that you've been struggling with. And maybe there's some, because I have a lot of clients who come in and they're like, I don't remember my childhood at all. And I have some that say, I remember my childhood maybe from the years of 8 forward. Everything before the age of 8, I don't remember. And then someone else would say, I remember maybe 3 or 4 things from my entire childhood, but I can't remember anything else. And that's usually a time where we give them a profile form to fill out and we do an assessment to find out if there's trauma in their life and how traumatic is the trauma. If they need to be referred out to a therapist, if their counselor wants to work with us, where are we at in this? Because, the clients that we do see from psychiatrists, they really have us come in to help them stay accountable to their medication and to help them stay on track with moving forward. The psychiatrist doesn't need to be involved in that work, so they give that work to us. That's the more exciting stuff than prescribing the prescriptions and checking the blood and all that for those that are in this field. That's why they chose to be in this field. So do you experience trauma memories as fragmented, repressed, or hyper vivid? And then let me ask you this. Has there been any memories since in this detox that has come up that you did not remember before the detox? And if so, I want you to put them on the screen, Ebony. I want to see those, please. Has there been any new memories? Has there been any memories, even if they're fragmented memories, that has come up during our detox that you did not have before the detox? Wow. Constance says, I basically remember my entire childhood. Wow. I don't even remember that. Ivory says, I remember everything from age 5. See, I hear that often. 5, 8. Usually school is a remarkable time and it helps us to kind of connect the dots on our childhood and to remember them. Gwen says, I remember all of my childhood. Remarkable. Remarkable. Hyper vivid, huh? Carmen says, age 8 for me. Get one more. Is there one more? Is there one more tonight? Chevelle says, I remember my childhood from age 3. You guys are remarkable. You're better than I am. I've been getting some newer memories in the last 3 years. And I think the most recent new memory that I had was probably a year ago. And I don't remember everything that went around, but I remember the moment where I was wondering, what are they doing? And why are they doing this to me? I never understood the whole thing, but I always remembered that question. And I think the reason why I still have a memory of that event is because the question was never answered in my mind. So the fact that I had a question about what was going on has kept that event from being buried. That's probably a good way to say it. So do you experience your memory as fragmented, repressed, or hyper vivid? And how does this affect you emotionally or mentally? And then lastly, before we get into our book, we're going to talk about intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts are unwanted thoughts. That's the easiest way to think of that. Intrusive thoughts are unwanted thoughts. They are involuntary. And they often replay traumatic experiences and reinforce our fears. Intrusive thoughts are unwanted, involuntary, and often replay traumatic experiences. Or an intrusive thought could be something that's reinforcing your fear. These are disruptive and often overwhelming. So what are some common type of intrusive thoughts? Flashbacks. Reliving the traumatic event as if it's happening now. This is I don't want to say it's more known, but maybe it's been more taught or more broadcasted where we've heard it more often when it relates to men and women when they've come back from serving in the military. They will have some flashbacks. They will have some intrusive thoughts that are involuntary when they're sleeping or when they're at a social event or when they're driving or if they hear a car backfire or if they smell smoke. These flashbacks relive the traumatic event as if it's happening now for them. Now, our situation may not be as catastrophic, but remember, trauma matters if it matters to me because I matter. And trauma is anything that overwhelms our ability to cope. Anyone remember that? Trauma is anything that overwhelms our ability to cope. On page 3 of my book, Defining Trauma, at its core, trauma is any experience that overwhelms our ability to cope. That's it. I didn't have a definition saying if you've come from war, if you are a domestic violence individual, if you survived a plane crash, if you've been in any kind of catastrophic event, listing them all down the line. I don't want to say anymore because I don't want to trigger anyone. I just felt the Holy Spirit stop me there. But at its core, trauma is any experience that overwhelms our ability to cope. Any that overwhelms our ability to cope. So intrusive thoughts come as flashbacks. They even come as negative self-talk, which we all have. All of us have it in some form or fashion. Maybe not as intrusive as others if you have a secure attachment style, but you have negative self-talk. Thoughts like, I'm not safe. It's my fault. You are stupid. You are so dumb. You're never going to be anything. Your mom is right. You're just like your father. Your grandma is right. You're just like your mother. I can't drive. I can't fly. I cannot go out alone. I cannot live alone. I have to stay in this toxic relationship because being alone might be unsafe or fearful. So I stay in this instead of taking a chance and conquer my fears. Negative self-talk examples. And then there's catastrophic thinking, focusing on worst case scenarios or exaggerated fears. Catastrophic thinking. In my life coaching program for those struggling with the low self-esteem, it is an amazing program. I really love it myself. And I've really tweaked it so well over the 9 years that outside of doing daily journal entries with me, one of the things that we do is we go through the 13 toxic mindsets that are working against your good. And we work this program, and it's amazing what it does for people's lives. I've seen oppression go. I've seen people get off medications. It's a very educating, transforming, applicable program, and it works. It works. When you have one of the 13 toxic mindsets, catastrophic thinking is one of them. And to be someone that has a catastrophic thought pattern, it means you always focus on the worst case scenarios or something that exaggerates your fears. Worst case scenario. Oh my God, I don't have my rent money and the first of the month is coming. I'm going to be evicted right away. Oh my God. The light switch isn't working. Did I forget to pay the light bill when the TV's still on? Catastrophic thinking. If I walk down to this corner by myself, there may be a dog that's going to come after me. And what am I going to do if a dog comes right away? You're just giving up all of your power for catastrophic. Nothing can be simple with you with this kind of mindset. Everything has a catastrophic connotation to it. And why do they happen? Why does the flashbacks happen? Why does the negative self-talk happen? Why does the catastrophic thinking happen? It happens because intrusive thoughts are the brain's way of trying to process and make sense of the trauma. So they're still trying to do their alarm job. They're still trying to do their remember this, remember when you do this, this happens. Remember the last time you did this and this happened. Yeah, but that was then. I'm not living in that now. I'm safer now. I'm a grown person now. All these type of things. You have to pull down these thoughts. They often reflect unresolved emotions. Why do we suffer with intrusive thoughts? Why do we live with negative self-talk? Why are these flashbacks always coming back and reminding me of something? Because they are triggering for you that you have unresolved emotions or unmet needs for safety and control. I could really go in on a really, really good lesson on this one here, because most people who have been violated or taken advantage of in any type of way growing up are usually very controlling people when they get older, because it's almost like their mind says, this will never happen to me again. And because I didn't have control, because I wasn't in control. I was a baby, I had no control. I was a woman, I had no control. I was a young man, I didn't have the authority over the older man. I was lighter, I was ignorant, I was naive, whatever it may be. Your brain says you not being in control caused this. So I need to be in control in every matter and situation in my life, including relationships. And you don't even know that a lot of problems that you're having and struggling with in relationships and friendships, even on the job, is the fact that you are fighting for control because you have brought into the processes of your thinking that when I'm not in control, I'm not safe. So you will lose people, you will lose places, you will lose things, you will lose yourself, because you are even exhausted with having to be in control. It's exhausting you. But we always fight for control as a trauma response, because the brain is saying, I will never give up control again. When that bully took control of me, when that molester took control of me, when I was punished and I was whipped severely, or I was blamed and all my siblings got away, whatever it was, your brain has decided to send you the message that because you weren't in control, bad things happen. And you will never, ever not be in control again, to the point where it's stealing, killing, and destroying. It's robbing you from opportunities in life. So now that we've gone through this part of it, what intrusive thoughts or flashbacks do you experience? What intrusive thoughts? What is the common tape that plays for you of negative self-talk? And let me give a little addendum here. Most negative self-talk has been connected statistically to something that was already said to you in life or in your childhood, and your mind plays fragmented pieces of it over and over again to you in your adult life. Florence says, I so needed these teachings when I was younger, but God is always on time, always, and he will restore to you everything that you feel you lost in time. He will restore everything back to you. And I just hear the Lord saying to even count the cost of it. Write down the things that you think you lost because you didn't get this information earlier, and watch how he's going to reflect on all those things on your list and to show you how he is a restorer. He is a restorer and he wants to restore. So if you had a parent that talked down to you, verbally abusive to you, cursed at you, called you names, these negative self-talks that you have is usually fragmented pieces of what was said to you in those verbally abusive situations. If you were a child of a product of. You don't even have to be a child. Could have been you could have a very nice childhood and met the wrong person and locked into abusive and toxic behavior. And you didn't know how to get out of it because it wasn't something you ever experienced before. So most of those thoughts that are going on in your mind was something that was already said to you, but it could be fragmented. So it may not say something like, you're just like your father or you're just like your mother, but it may say something in reference to them. Like, what is it that you believe that that parent was saying to you about that other parent? You just no good. You're lazy. You're always late. You can't keep a job. You're a cheater. You can't pay bills. Anything. You're just like your father. It will grab a piece of what that meaning meant to you, and it will call you that on an automatic loop, a tape in your mind. And negative self-talk would work like that. And that's why you cast down those conversations, you cast down those imaginations, you send those word curses right back to the pits of hell. They don't belong to you. That is not who your God says you are. What are your intrusive thoughts? What is the loop that plays in your mind that speaks negatively to you? We have some common ones. Can you think of 3 right now? Can you write maybe 3 in your journal that you experience on a daily, maybe a weekly? If you don't pay much attention to yourself, you probably won't even notice that it's daily. What are some of the same things that your mind says to you? And you have to fight your mind. And by the time you get out of the house, you're already exhausted. I've been fighting my mind all morning. Now I got to fight these people. And then I got to fight those people. Then I got to come home and deal with this person. But these intrusive thoughts, they're there for a reason. And they are the brain's way of telling you you have some unresolved emotions that you need to address. And some unmet needs for safety and control. So let's go to our book. Pull up my Kindle. And we're in chapter 6. And we're dealing with memory on tonight. I'm going to deal with memory on tonight from chapter 6. Trauma not only impacts our emotions and body, but also has a profound effect on how we store and recall memories. For many trauma survivors, remember, trauma is not catastrophic. I have to keep saying that because so many people read it and they're like, but I don't feel like I've had trauma. Chronic stress can equal trauma. Did you have chronic stress growing up? Maybe there was a high demand on you to be perfect, a high demand on you to be the Cinderella of the house. You were the one that had to keep the whole entire house clean. Maybe you always had to have the best grades. It could be something that was maybe just for high achievers, but it was still stress for you. For many trauma survivors, memories of the traumatic event can be fragmented, unclear, or even repressed, while for others, they can be overwhelmingly vivid and intrusive. These memories can resurface unexpectedly, sometimes in the form of flashbacks, which brings the trauma back into the present in a visceral and disorientating way. So let us explore how trauma affects memory, why some memories become distorted or repressed, and how to manage flashbacks and intrusive thoughts. Understanding these aspects of trauma will help you make sense of your experiences and offer you tools to regain control over your mind and emotions. How trauma affects memory. Trauma impacts memory in complex ways, often leading to fragmented or distorted recollections of the event. This is because trauma overwhelms the brain's normal memory processing system, particularly the hippocampus, which is responsible for encoding and retrieving memories. When the brain is in survival mode during a traumatic event, the amygdala, which controls fear responses, takes over, while the hippocampus becomes less active. As a result, the brain now prioritizes immediate survival over storing a coherent memory of the event. And this can lead to fragmented memories. Instead of clear, linear memory of the event, you may only remember bits and pieces, an image, a sound, a feeling, without being able to recall the entire experience. These fragments can resurface later as isolated, disjointed memories. Now, remember this, even though you may have fragmented or distorted memories, your brain has it all. Your brain has all the details, and it is in there. Repressed memories. And let me back up for a minute. I want to make it clear why I said that. And I said that because someone may think you're a liar because you don't have all the story, but it's just the way the brain is saving you. The brain believes its job is to save you, and it will put you in survival mode where it will allow you to remember just little bits and pieces will come forward. And it doesn't mean that you're a liar. It doesn't mean that you have mental issues. Your brain is doing its bio job. Then we have repressed memories. In some cases, the brain may push the traumatic memory out of conscious awareness as a protective mechanism. These repressed memories may not surface for years, or they may never return to full consciousness, though their emotional and physical effects can linger. And then we have hypervivid memories. On the other end of the spectrum, some trauma survivors have memories that are so vivid and detailed that it feels like the event is happening all over again. These memories can be accompanied by intense emotions and physical sensations. The way trauma impacts memory varies from person to person. My journey. It is important to understand that regardless of how your brain has processed the memory of the event, your experience is valid and the effects are real. And that's the hard part. Psychologically, mentally, your brain is doing some magic tricks. It's moving the nuts and shells game to keep you in surviving. So it keeps you in survival mode so it can keep you surviving. However, the effects that are going to be in your body is going to respond to what's real. So let's just say you don't remember all of the details, but yet you are always sick. Your immune system is always drained. You catch everything that blows in the wind. You've got a lot of aches and pains. You're getting a little older and you're like older than everybody else in your body. And that's because trauma lives in the body. Even when the brain is lying to you and doing its job to keep you from cracking, if you can get what I'm saying there, your body, you can't lie to it. It's stored in the body. And that's why it's important to stretch and all these wonderful things that we're going to get to soon. But one of the most distressing aspects of trauma is the experience of flashbacks and intrusive thoughts. These symptoms bring the trauma back into the present, often without warning, and can make it feel as though you are reliving the event. Flashbacks are vivid, overwhelming, in which you feel as though you are back in the traumatic situation. Flashbacks can be triggered by external stimuli, sights, sounds, even smells, or by internal stimuli such as thoughts or emotions. During a flashback, you may lose touch with the present moment, feeling as though the past trauma is happening again. Intrusive thoughts are unwanted, distressing, or memories that pop up into your mind without warning. These thoughts often involve the traumatic event and can evoke strong emotional and physical reactions. Unlike flashbacks, intrusive thoughts do not necessarily make you feel like you are reliving a trauma, but they can be just as distressing on the body. Both flashbacks and intrusive thoughts are the brain's way of trying to make sense of the trauma. However, because the memory is fragmented or overwhelming, these experiences can feel disorienting and frightening. Trauma-related memories can resurface unexpectedly, even long after the event has passed. And this happens because the brain hasn't fully processed the memory, leaving it stuck in an unresolved state. Certain triggers, whether external, like a smell or place, or internal, like a feeling of fear or helplessness, can cause the brain to bring the memory to the surface in an attempt to process it. However, because the trauma was overwhelming, these memories often surface in ways that feel intrusive and even disjointed. Rather than coming to terms with the memory in a calm, controlled way, it appears in flashbacks or unwanted thoughts, often causing distress. It is important to recognize that the resurfacing of trauma related memories is a natural part of the healing. I want to read that again. It is important to recognize that the resurfacing of trauma related memories is a natural part of the healing process. While it can feel overwhelming, it is your brain's way of trying to process and integrate the experience. With the right tools, you can learn to manage these memories and reduce their impact on your daily life. And you still may be one that is wondering why would I want to integrate this trauma into my life? Because you can only conquer what you confront. And in acting like it hasn't happened, or acting as though, maybe I don't have to integrate it, but I can really get some therapeutic work on it. That's integrating it into your life. It doesn't have to stay there. Remember the t-shirt the other night? Healing is a journey, not a destination. I'm not going to be living my life healing until the end of my destination. Healing is my journey, but that's not my destination. My destination is peace, love, joy, soundness of mind, health, wealth, prosperity, soul joy, soul salvation. That's my destination. But you have to integrate it in your life so that you can confront it and deal with it. So, how do we actually manage these flashbacks and these intrusive thoughts? If you experience flashbacks or intrusive thoughts, they are strategies you can use to regain control and bring yourself back to the present moment. While these experiences can be distressing, you hear that? They do not have to overwhelm you. And here are some techniques to help you manage flashbacks and intrusive thoughts. We've talked about grounding before. This is another of grounding. Grounding helps anchor you in the present moment when you feel like you're being pulled back into the past. Focus on your physical surroundings. You can do it now. Using your senses to remind yourself that you are safe in the present. Try some techniques like this: looking around and naming 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Ready? Go. Do it wherever you are. What are the first 5 things you can see? What are 4 things you can touch? You can touch. What are the 3 things you can hear? Name 2 things you can smell. That may take a little effort. And then 1 thing you can taste. Now, I want you to hold an object. Find something that you can grab in your hand. It can be the book or your pen or your notebook. Just find something that you can hold in your hand. It could be your hair. You could be one of those that are twisters. Maybe you grab your ear, or, you grab a piece of clothing, whatever it is. Grab an object, and I want you to focus on the texture of it. Check out the depth, the weight, the width, the height. Feel the temperature of it. Get your mind into the present moment. That's what we're doing. And then plant your feet firmly on the ground. and focusing on the sensation of the floor beneath you. Just take a moment to do it. Plant your feet on holy ground. You are safe. And those are grounding. They're just to ground you. They're just to bring you in the moment. And I believe these are also people have coping mechanisms that they use that they don't understand is a form of grounding, but I would say that they are not healthy forms for you, such as I've seen people, and I used to smoke myself, but I've seen people that when their mind starts running, all of a sudden they're going to get up and go get a cigarette. I've seen people that when their mind starts running, their legs start shaking. I'm one of those. You get a little anxious, a little antsy, your leg. Anybody in here is a leg shaker? Anybody in here goes for a cigarette? What is it that you do when your mind starts worrying or processing something that brings a little anxiousness to you? What is it that you do? Because these are techniques that you can do to replace them. And you can just plant your feet on the floor and say, I'm in control. What is it that I'm anxious about? I don't have to depend on these coping mechanisms that are not producing anything good in my life. Some are even detracting from my lifeline, my life age, my health. And I'm just going to plant my feet on solid ground. I am safe. You can touch things and just be like, it's okay, you're real. And then we have breathing exercises. Deep breathing can help calm your nervous system. When you feel a flashback or an intrusive thought coming on, try inhaling for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for a count of 4. And exhale for a count of 4. Repeat this cycle until you feel more grounded. I was listening to a preacher this morning, preaching in his church in Chicago, and he was teaching good scripture, and then he told them to breathe. And I was like, oh, we got people breathing now, huh? The church is starting to realize that we are holistic beings. We are spirit beings put in a psyche, in a human flesh body, and our body needs to regenerate cells, so it needs rest and sleep. We need water because we're 80% or more of water, and we have a neural system, and we need to inhale and exhale to resupply and almost like reset the the nervous system. And I'm like, all right, we got a church doing that. All right, we need more of that. And he was preaching a really, really good, hard message. So I'm sure they did need to breathe. And it's important sometimes to remind people to breathe. Do you notice when you exhale, when you, I have people with me almost all the time. So my granddaughter would say, what was that for? Matter of fact, she got it from me. And I'd say, what was what for? She said, you just did a big sigh. You just did a big exhale. And my mind is running and running. I'm thinking about something that just frustrated me. It just let me down, something that I can't figure out. And my mind will be going, even though I'm driving in the conscious moment, my subconscious is still running. And either I'll come to a resolution. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. Exhale. Or I'll end up just going around and around and around and around like the hamster in the cage in my mind. And I'll sigh. And she'll hear me. And I have to catch myself from those things and breathe. And sometimes I'll notice that I was clenching the steering wheel. The car is a place where I really go into my heavy thinking. So I'll notice, let go of the steering wheel, son. It didn't take all that to hold the steering wheel. But I'm in that reliving that memory in the moment, whether it's traumatic or not. Take the time to breathe, because we have so many thoughts per minute, thousands and thousands of thoughts that go through our mind per minute. And we probably pay attention to 1 or 3 of them, but we have thousands of thoughts that go through us in a minute. And the ones that make it to the front that we become conscious of, we need to grab it as soon as we can. Remind yourself of the present. When a flashback or intrusive thought occurs, remind yourself that you are not in the present moment and that the trauma is in the past. You might say something like, "This is just a memory. I am safe now," or "I'm not in danger right now." One of the favorite ones I like to do with my clients is I would tell them to go and get that person that's in their intrusive thought, that's in their traumatic memory. So let's just say you're seeing the 8-year-old you. So the 20 something, the 30 something, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever year old you, go get them. Take their hand and take them out. Bring them forward in life. And I would use things such as remind your younger self, we're safe now. I'm in control now, not them. And life is pretty good. It may not be where we wish it to be, but we have our own room. We have our own bed. Maybe we have our own living room, kitchen. Maybe we have our own dwelling space. Maybe we have our own car. Maybe we have a job now. Maybe we have our own friends that are good to us and they love us and we love them. Remind your inner child that we made it. Life is pretty good for us right now. We made it. And you may have to do that several times in your life and remind them it's okay. We made it. I got you. And it sounds weird, but it's the impact that you're having on the memory in your brain. See, your brain needs to get closure. Your brain is looking for closure. So your brain needs to hear you speak to what's in its mind as a memory and say, we made it. I got you. I love you. Nobody's ever going to hurt you again. These are the things you have to say to yourself. Elaine says, my brain is always on Zoom and I can never get it to calm down. That sounds like anxiety, anxiousness, and grounding is what you need to do. But you have to be intentional with it. You cannot, sell yourself out to say, I can never get it to calm down. You can now because I've given you techniques. And begin to notice when it start going. I notice a lot of people that have anxiety. And I've noticed some people who use the anxiety for their good. Like they work hard, they get things done so fast. Like people are like, golly, sit down. They can't. But they use it to work faster, to clean better. They OCD almost. We don't want to go OCD, but OCD almost in their home because their anxiety doesn't let them sit still. So it's a horrible thing, but they're actually able to use it for their good. So in order to calm down, you have to catch it. What is it? Philippians 4:13. You have to cast down every imagination and you have to put your feet on the ground and tell yourself, we are well. It is well with my soul. Sing it to yourself if you have to. Do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just grab yourself. Feel the material or whatever it is that you're wearing. Start doing that, Elaine. And if you don't mind, can you, over the next 5 days, email me every single day and tell me if you've been able to catch the thought and if you've been able to use any grounding exercises over the next 5 days? Let's just do a diary check-in for you for the next 5 days. Are you willing to do that with me? So repeating a comforting phrase can help anchor you in the present. Physical movement. Sometimes trauma can make you feel stuck or frozen during a flashback. Engaging in gentle physical movement, such as stretching, walking, or shaking your arms and legs, can help release tension and bring you back to the present. Thank you, Audria Holly, for super sticker $5. And she said, breathe. Visualization. Visualization is very, 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 very helpful. You know why? Because you are no longer in the traumatic event, but in your mind, you may still be there. So you have to give your mind a new story, an ending to an old story. If you are experiencing a flashback or an intrusive thought, try visualization. Visualizing a safe place, a mental image of somewhere peaceful and calming, such as a beach, a forest, or a favorite room in your home. Focus on the details of this place to help shift your mind away from the distressing memory. I think we're just about done for tonight. Yep, it's 9 o'clock. We'll pick up tomorrow night on coping with memory gaps and uncertainty. And why is this important? This is important because I want to bring you up to date. Looks like we're on page 40 now of our book. Wow, we're moving, guys. Page 40 out of 145 pages. So we're done pretty well. And we're on day 10, did we say? Or we're really moving along. But why is it important? Because not only are or can your memories of the traumatic event be fragmented, not only can you have intrusive thoughts of the traumatic event or flashback, but usually commonly, the brain is affected so much so that memories of the current time and days are also a problem for you, because the way your brain is in survival mode and the way it's trying to save you. I want to keep reminding you of that. Your brain is trying to save you. So you may still, I've heard people say before, they got off the highway, didn't know where they were. They got off the wrong exit. I remember one day I got off the wrong exit. I was going, I think, to work. And in my mind, I was going home, and I just lost track of time and got off the wrong exit. It was like, and I had to sit there for a minute. Where am I? I remember out of habit, I ride the carpool lane on Wednesdays into my office for Wednesday evening clients. And most times I'm with my granddaughter. So we jump on the highway in Vernon and we take the carpool lane all the way into Hartford. And she wasn't with me that day. I knew she wasn't with me that day because I told her to stay home and do homework that day. She wasn't with me. I got on the highway and got in the carpool lane. And I'm praying the whole time that I don't get pulled over and have to tell this officer that I don't know what happened. It's just automatic habit. I have a lot on my mind. My thoughts are moving too fast that I was already thinking, and praying for my clients that I'm getting ready to meet in my office, that I just out of habit just jumped right in the carpool lane. Try that for a ticket. I hear those tickets are very costly. And thank God that it wasn't the motive of my heart to not obey the laws of the land, but it was truly a disassociated moment. Anyone know? Anyone can connect with me on those things? So it's important to understand that trauma did not just affect you then, and trauma is not just affecting you now regarding the traumatic event. Trauma is affecting you now with current real-time life. And that's why we've got to make this an urgent situation. Well, I thank you for being with me tonight. You are some very special people because you are jumping in with the water up to your knees now, and you are actually doing this work. We've explored pretty well tonight. We got far on how trauma affects memory and thoughts, gaining insight into fragmented, repressed, and hypervivid memories, as well as intrusive thoughts. Tomorrow, we'll continue chapter 6 by focusing on how to use these insights to reclaim power over our thoughts and create a sense of safety in our mind. Thank you for joining me tonight and for your willingness to confront the complex ways that trauma affects memories and thoughts. Let me segue for 1 second. I remember who I wanted to announce. Let's see if I have it on here. I wanted to thank these very special people, and they're special because they're giving of their cash. They're not just having fun doing the super stickers and helping us evangelize and move this ministry or this movement up to the top. I want to thank Carmen Figueroa for a seed of $20. I want to thank Anna Roman for her seed of $10. I want to thank Dr. Vanessa Bowling for her seed of $10. I want to thank Latrice for her seed of $25. I want to thank Brittany for her seed of $20. And again, Anna and Okita for their seeds of $5 that you sent in. I did not know it was there. And I want to take the time to appreciate you all tonight because, life coaching sessions are $125 minimum for 55 minutes. Some sessions and some work takes longer. Some need an hour and a half. Some you need 2 to 3 hours in order to make enough impact until the next session starts. So let's look at this 55 minutes that I spend with y'all every night. How much is $125 times 30 sessions? Look what's being given away. And I don't want you to feel, because they say psychologically, humans don't appreciate things that are free. We don't put a value on things given to us or free things. That's why children don't appreciate life or the car or bills or food or shelter until they have to pay for it themselves because it was given to them. I spoke to a dear friend of mine who's an evangelist missionary in India, and he says they go with pamphlets. And when they get down the road, the pamphlets are thrown off into the water, into the trash, because they were free. But someone else wrote a pamphlet and they put a price on it. And whether they gave it to the person for free or not, because the person saw value in it, they kept it. I need to make sure you see the value in what we're doing. $125 a session for 30 sessions. We ought to be more than grateful and to see the value, and then also seeing the value of what this is doing to your life, the change, the awareness that has already come to you. I bow because I appreciate you and I thank you for whatever you give. Every like counts. Please take a moment right now and hit like. There'll be over 100 people viewing on YouTube, 40 likes. A like is a seed, guys. You may not have cash to give on a Cash App. You may not have cash to give electronically on the website. You may not have the setup to give even on the superstars and all that stuff that we're doing on social media, but you can give a like. A like will boost up to us to the top with all the millions of people whose ministry and work is being boosted to the top to help someone else out. If everyone can hit like on Facebook, maybe later tonight or tomorrow, can you go to YouTube and just hit like on YouTube? A special offering would actually help if you made a comment. Thank you. These are the things that boost our videos up more so others can see them, because it tells YouTube and Instagram and it tells Facebook that what is being displayed on their social media page is a desired thing. And it's going to make more people go to YouTube, more people go to Instagram, more people engage on Facebook. And that's what they want. So if my movement is helping them in the long run, they're going to do what they can to boost this work up. And we're not here opening up Disney packages and, making people excited about the new toy that came out. We're not here doing, what is that? ACM stuff when people are crunching ice and eating food and breathing heavy and people are all into that stuff. We're not here doing that. We're here giving away therapy. We're here giving away personal and professional development. We're here ministering. We're here as a movement to help the human being have a better human experience. So will you please consider right now hitting a like? If you're on YouTube, go and hit it on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go and hit it on YouTube and leave a comment on YouTube. You can say thank you. You can make a comment about the night. And then it also shows me that you're here. Many of you are not commenting. I don't even know you're here. And please understand, you're dear to me, especially if I know you. And when I don't see a comment from you or a like or an engagement, that's not real motivating if you're supposed to be in a part of the circle of my life. So we've got to do these things corporately as a unified body, a movement, so that we can continue strengthening the teacher, strengthening the students, and bringing this to a lost and dying world. Healing is not about erasing the past, but about learning to navigate it with strength and self-compassion. Remember, your memories don't define you. You define how you move forward. If you like personalized support in processing trauma memories or addressing intrusive thoughts, I'm here to help. Along with my coaches, I want you to visit us at www.suzannemhoward.com or message me for more information about one-on-one coaching. Rest well tonight, knowing you're taking meaningful steps towards reclaiming your peace of mind. I'll see you tomorrow night for night 12. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper. God bless you and good night.